In a world where information is at our fingertips, it's easy to forget the importance of public libraries. But did you know that they are more relevant now than ever? Public libraries are not just places to borrow books. They offer access to technology, job resources, educational programs, and community events. They also serve as a gathering place for people from all walks of life, and they're committed to promoting literacy, lifelong learning, and civic engagement. Literature is a powerful tool. What's put down into text we know can change the lives and minds of our readers. That's why it's so important to shine a light on our libraries and everything they do for the community. Hello and welcome to Celebrate Michigan, the show produced by students on the campus of Medina University. I'm Chris Benson. Today we have Rebecca Brown from the Farmington Community Library. Rebecca, I'm so excited to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
And I couldn't help but notice that you have a dragon on your shoulder.
I sure do.
So could I meet your friend here?
You sure can. His name is Alderon, his name means Lord of Trees in Elvish. And he's actually one of the dragons that I use for our library's YouTube channel. Every week we do videos promoting different books. Children's books, teen books, and adult books.
Oh my gosh, and how did you come to meet Alderon?
Well, I hatched him from an egg, like I hatched all my dragons. Egg came all the way from Zanzibar and hatched him, and it's just been a really fun way to engage with the community.
Well, I'm pleased to meet you, Alderon. We're glad you're part of the Farmington Community Libraries. And tell us a little bit about the Farmington Community Libraries, a little history, and I know there's two. I'm a proud resident of Farmington, and I'm very familiar with them, but for our viewers who aren't, tell us a little bit about it.
Sure. So the Farmington Community Library is one library, but it has two branches, and each one serves the same different communities that are just full of life and vibrancy. We have over 400,000 items between the two libraries that can be checked out. We have just a number of different online databases and different ways that we can serve the communities through different various programmings for all different age groups. And we're really just basically there to be a great community space for people.
And I know there's one right downtown in Farmington, and then there's one actually in Farmington Hills, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, absolutely.
And a little bit different, the two of them. Tell us a little bit about how they differ.
Sure. So the Farmington Library, the branch that's on 12 Mile, is the bigger branch, and it's the one that is a little bit newer. It was erected originally in the 70s, and it's much more vast. The one in downtown Farmington on Liberty Street is a little bit smaller. I like to think of it as it's cozier.
It is.
It's a smaller building, but it also was that was erected in the 50s, and it is a way for people to just get to the library. And we can actually, if you have items from the 12 Mile branch and you leave them at our Farmington Library on Liberty Street, we have deliveries every day that go back and forth between the branches. So whichever one you prefer to go to, you can access the materials at both locations. You know, in the early 1900s, the library started basically as a little annex in City Hall, and they just had a bunch of books in there. And that was how it started, and now we've become two branches for one wonderful library.
So many years later. That's wonderful. And that library that you just referenced, the one in downtown Farmington, is in the heart of the city. And talk about why libraries are so important. And we've got them in all, hopefully, most of our cities in the United States, but why are they so important to us?
Well, they're so important for a lot of reasons, but mainly because they're not just, a lot of people think of libraries as just book repositories, and they're a place, you know, if you don't like books, well, you don't belong in the library. And that's just not the case, because the library is really for anyone. We offer things for all different people of different walks of life in different times of their lives, and it's just basically a place you can go in your community. You can go there for free. It's one of the last free places you can go and just spend all day if you want. If you want to come and study, if you want to just sit and read a newspaper. At the downtown branch, we do have puzzles that we keep out for people to come and we have people that come every day to work on the puzzles. And it's just a really great place for people to meet and, you know, get help with things if they need help with resumes or, you know, maybe finding a job or just finding any information they need. We can help with that.
And I know there's a physical place, like you said, and physical resources, but the library also offers programming. I know there's meeting places there. Talk a little bit about some of the different things that you have at the libraries.
Sure. Well, in terms of the digital space, which you mentioned, we have two different platforms that you can read digitally and listen to books through digital audiobooks, which is really great.
One of my favorite things to do.
We have 2 really great apps, Libby and Hoopla. You can use one or the other or both if you like. But we also have a really wide variety of databases that a lot of people don't know that we have. For example, we have one that's Mango Languages, which if you want to learn a different language for free with your library card, you can do that. We have Gale Courses, which is another database where if you want to take a course, I took 2 writing courses last year, absolutely for free with my library card, over a wide variety of different topics.
Wow.
In terms of the physical space, like I said, we do have the programs for children, we have programs for teens, and programs for adults. We have a really robust summer reading program for all ages, and we have just all kinds of different ways to celebrate everybody in the community.
And I can't believe how much libraries have changed over the years. Like I think about, again, when I'm dating myself a bit, but as a child, I remember going to the card catalog and, you know, it's alphabetized and I would pull out, okay, here's what I'm looking for. Or it might be numbered and I'm like trying to figure out, okay, do they have this book? And I'm taking it to the desk and someone's telling me where it is.
Yeah.
How does that affect the library, the change? I mean, you're always trying to stay relevant with what our things are today, but what kind of changes have you seen?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned the card catalog because we actually have one of our old card catalogs at the Farmington Hills location, and we've repurposed it to become a seed library. So patrons can come in and take seeds for free, a whole bunch of different vegetables, different flowers. They can return the seeds, like from the plants and vegetables that they've grown, for other people to enjoy and use. And that's a really great way that we've repurposed that. That's something that we don't use anymore, the card catalog. But really, we got our first computers in 1984. And ever since then, it's just, you know, technology has grown and changed over the years, and libraries have grown and changed over the years as well. So we offer so many different digital options for people. We have different technology things that people can check out. You can check out laptops, you can check out Wi-Fi hotspots. We have one-on-one technology help that people can come in for. So we've really stayed, you know, you have to. A library has to stay up with the times and try to meet the community where they're at and find out what they need and then be able to give it to them.
Wow, so many things. Well, we have to take a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be discussing more about the Farmington Community Library in the next segment, so stay tuned.
When life's this hard, it's no wonder 7,000 students drop out every school day. Visit boostup.org and help kids in your community stay in school.
My name's Reggie. Just recently, my wife and I took in her sister's children. Now, we already had 4, so I went from becoming a family man to a man with a bigger family. Now, you can't eat love, so I don't know how I'm gonna feed them tonight. How was that, Rich?
I think I look more like Denzel.
That's cold, man.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
So my uncle calls and he says he's dizzy and he's losing his balance. I'm like, Unc, you want me to take you to a doctor? He's like, no, I'm gonna look up the symptoms. I said, your symptoms are you're dizzy and you're losing your balance. So he said, I can't get on the internet because my arm is numb. I said, well, use your good arm and dial 911. Stroke's no joke. If you or someone you love is showing symptoms of stroke, don't wait because it might be too late. Dial 911. Time lost is brain lost.
Yo, check out this chef, right? Right? That's so gay. That's really gay. Look at those hands.
Please don't say that.
What?
Don't say that something is gay when you mean that something is dumb or stupid. It's insulting. It's like if I thought this pepper shaker was stupid and I said, man, this pepper shaker is so 16-year-old boy with a cheesy mustache. Just saying. When you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off.
Welcome back to Celebrate Michigan, our TV show produced by students at Madonna University. And today we're talking with Rebecca Brown from the Farmington Community Library. Rebecca, you told us in the first segment about the library itself and the 2 branches and some of the different offerings they have, but we want to know about you and maybe about Alderaan too. So how did you come to be affiliated with the library?
Well, I actually moved out here to Michigan back in early 2018, and I started working at the library as a page very early on. It was basically in March of 2018.
And you have to tell us, what's a page?
So a page is actually the employee at the library who does a lot of the shelving. They put a lot of the books away when they're returned. They help patrons out when they're checking out books.
Okay.
And I loved just experiencing being in the public sphere for that amount of time. I had originally, when I did go to library school, I had actually majored in archival studies, but working in a public library for the first time made me see how amazing they really are, and I knew that that's where I wanted to be for the rest of my life.
And even just mentioning the different jobs in the different areas of the library, many people who just go and get the book they want or the resource they want maybe don't realize that. So what are some of the different jobs or areas of a library?
Sure. Well, we have many different departments in the library. In terms of the patron-facing departments, we've got the children's department, the teen department, and then the adult department. But then you also have just as important places like the technology department, which handles all of our IT stuff, the circulation, which is where the pages work, and our library assistants that help check in books and keep everything running smoothly for us. The adult department focuses on a lot of like ESL learning, a lot of programming for seniors. We have a lot of outreach that is done with the senior citizens. Our senior services librarian actually goes out into the community for people who can't maybe come to the library. So she goes out to the different senior centers and brings books to them, brings programming to them in person so that they can experience that. For the teen department, we have every year in the spring a Battle of the Books, which is a middle school competition where the tweens can read 6 different books, and then we have a quiz. That's always really fun. The children's department, we have all kinds of different programming for them all year round. In the winter, we have a lot of really fun skating programs that are like based at the downtown on Sunkist Pavilion with the skating rink. We have that. In the summer, we have the huge summer reading program, which is actually for all ages. And then we have 1,001 books for kindergarten, a big program every year that they do. There's just so much for everybody.
Wow, I mean, I knew you had, but I didn't know you had all of that. And I know you specialize in the area of being a teen librarian.
Yes.
So what does that entail?
So that is really fun. I just absolutely love my job. I get to go out and work with the teens. I do outreach to schools sometimes where I go and visit them, bring different books for them and talk about them. I get to have different programmings. We have our own, it's called Books and Bites, a book club just for teens and tweens, where we come, and of course there are snacks too, because you have to have snacks while you're having a book conversation,
right? You have to have snacks.
And we do a lot of variety of programming. We have like a financing program sometimes we do for them during Money Smart Week every year. We just recently did a Stop the Bleed program where teens could come in and learn. We had some paramedics come in and they learned how to address wounds and how to deal with like somebody that might be having a heart attack.
Sure.
So wide variety of stuff.
So skill building too. I mean, some of those things you just talked about, it's, not just having books that people can read about these things, but actually offering workshops with practical skills for people that come. What do you, when you see the people that come to the library and, whether it's to get resources or to be involved in these programs, what do they get out of it? How would you describe what they walk away with?
Well, they walk away, it's vast. So they can walk away with whatever knowledge or information that they were coming in for. Actually we do have tax forms out this time of year. It's tax season. We have free forms out for them to come in if they're coming in for something specific like that, a tax form, they can leave with that. They can leave with any kind of experience that they come. We have music programs all the time. So if you come in with an enjoyment of music, you can leave with that. Just, I think overall a sense of self-empowerment is what you leave with at the library, because we have things for you that you can use and utilize in your own life, and that's a really fulfilling feeling to walk away with that.
Wow. What do you personally get out of working in the library?
Oh, wow. Well, first of all, I just love working with the patrons every day. You never know what you're going to get every day. It's a completely different experience. I love being able to help people get what they need. My favorite is Reader's Advisory, which is helping people find the right book. I read a variety of books every year. Last year I read 500.
Oh, wow.
A little bit, a little bit
Okay.
ashamed, but
Just
also
a
proud
few.
of that. Yeah, just a few. So I really love being able to talk to a person, get an idea of what they're looking for, and that's any age. Like I love giving kids recommendations, teens recommendation, adults, and finding the best book for them that they're going to walk away with.
There have to be some frustrations or challenges
Sure.
about working in a library.
Sure.
Is it that I crinkle the pages? Is it that I leave things in the book? What are some of those challenges or frustrations that you see in the library?
Well, we have definitely found some very interesting things that have been returned with books. Sometimes if we get a book back that has been, damaged by water or torn pages, that's always very sad. But we have gotten rid of fines, so we have gone fine free, which I think is important because we can always buy another book, but we can't buy a patron. So a patron coming back, time after time that's what we want. But I would say some of the frustrations are, so there's just not enough time in every day to be able to get done everything that you want to.
Sure. And I think how long ago was it that you went away from having fines for items that weren't returned?
So we started doing that during COVID because of the way COVID hit and we had to close very suddenly.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people that had items out and we didn't want anybody to feel, pressure to return and be unsafe when they didn't have to. And going fine free is a thing that a lot of libraries have implemented. It is something that we had wanted to do for a while and found that was a perfect opportunity to do it. Because there have been studies that show that if a person feels shame, if they have a library fine, they're less likely to come back, no matter if it's a lot of money or not a lot of money. If you feel ashamed, I remember as a kid, if you don't return a book and you're just so embarrassed about it. And what we want is people coming in. So, like I said, a book, if they lose a book, we can just buy it again. It's not a big deal, but we want people coming back all the time.
Wow, I appreciate that you're alleviating me from all those shames of fines I may have had when I was younger. There might be people looking for me somewhere for a book. But
I promise there's no library police.
This is so good. This is so good. We again have to take a short break, but when we come back, we'll talk more about picture books and some controversies that have occurred with books. So stay tuned. We'll see you in just a few.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, "Read your lease. No pets allowed." My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
What to expect when you're expecting.
Like here.
A teenager.
Today, I'm going to show you how to teen-proof your home. First step, hide the car keys. Preferably somewhere they would never look. Challenges will come up. Be ready for them. Hi, honey.
Ready for the... Mom, you don't use mannequins in the mannequin challenge.
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas.
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back to Celebrate Michigan, our TV show produced here at Madonna University. And today we have Rebecca Brown from the Farmington Community Library. And we actually ended our last segment talking about how libraries really have had to shift with the times. And you mentioned about the fines going away, which was music to my ears, and that it was, it was better to retain a reader and to keep a reader coming in than to separate a reader from the resources, and how important that is.
Absolutely.
And I really appreciated that. And it sounded like that was something that was important to you too. And as we talk about our next topic, there's been libraries are not free of controversy, and you'd think like, gosh, is there even controversy with libraries? Yes, there are. And I think one of the topics that's been in the media a lot lately has been the idea of books and books being banned. And I think you brought with you today some books that have been discussed as controversial. So when you think about the place that libraries serve in the community, what do you think that place is? And what do you think is the importance of that?
Well, I definitely think that the importance is that we have resources for everybody. And if it's something that, maybe you don't want to read, if it's like a particular book, that's fine. Absolutely, you don't have to read it, but we should still have the material available for somebody else that might want to read it. I think that we serve a wide variety of patrons and a very big, diverse community. So we want to make sure that we have things for everybody that they can read and enjoy. It's very important.
We were talking in between the breaks and everything that ever since the printing press was invented, there's been controversy about having materials available to people, and through the years, that's been always a topic for every generation, and it continues to be a topic. What are some of the themes of controversy now in the discussion of books in libraries?
Sure. So it's definitely an issue that's gotten very bad in the last couple of years. But like you said, it's been something that's been going on for a long time. In fact, in the early 1920s, when Ulysses was first published by James Joyce, it was first published in France, and it was banned in the U.S. So U.S. readers couldn't get it. So they actually had to ship the book over here disguised as other books. So they would take the Ulysses cover off, they would put a Shakespeare cover on it, and then try to ship it over here to try to get it through customs. So that was a little over 100 years ago. Yeah. And there's been, like I said, it did bring some books today. For example, we've got Harry Potter, banned for witchcraft and the occult. We've got The Color Purple, which was banned for violence. You've got Captain Underpants, which is a children's book, which is banned for its potty humor and considered to be crass. But Neil Gaiman, who is a really famous author, once said that there's no such thing as a bad book. Because even if it's a book that you don't think is great, maybe you don't love Captain Underpants. Talks about potties and stuff like that. But if it's going to get a reluctant reader to pick it up and read, if it's going to meet that reader halfway and be something that they can really identify with and just enjoy, that's going to really create and foster a love of reading. And then maybe they'll read other things when they're done with that. But I think that everybody likes different things. Everybody likes different things to read, and we just have to make sure that it's all available for people.
And I know there's this idea that particularly there are people who might use the library because they don't have access to books. I remember reading a study that said, for children who have more than, and I'll probably get this wrong, you might know, for children who have more than 100 books or 100 books or more in their house, their reading comprehension is always higher and their retention is much higher.
Absolutely.
So having access to books is so important.
Yeah.
How do you see it in your everyday life, and how do you see having access to books being important to children in particular?
Well, specifically when we're talking about children, I think it's so important. Especially because of what you said. It helps people, it helps their reading comprehension, but I think it also really, and this goes across any age group, it fosters a sense of empathy for other people. There's been a really famous study and a saying that says that books should be windows they should be mirrors, and they should be sliding glass doors. So a child should be able to look at a book and have it be a mirror. They should be able to look at a book and see themselves somewhere in that book. But it should also be a window. They can look through that book and see the world of somebody else that they might not know. But most importantly, it should be a sliding glass door. So not only can they see somebody else's life and experience, but they can cross that barrier and feel it and live it with them. And then, you know, you can experience so many different adventures, so many different walks of life that way. It's just a book is an amazing thing.
You said that so well.
Thank
and
you.
if our viewers are trying to find information about the Farmington Community Library, where can they go? Is there a website to go to?
Absolutely,
yes.
yeah, and we've got everything on the website. So you can go to, it's www.farmlib.org, and we have our calendar of events on there too, which you can sort through by age group or sort by whatever type of program you're looking for. So if you're looking for different things to sign up for, you can do that there. We've got all our databases on there as well, and just everything you're looking for, you can find it right there on our website.
Wow. Well, Rebecca, it has been just incredible having you on the library show today, as well as Alderon. Thanks for being here, Alderon.
Well, he's happy to be here too.
We're glad you made it.
Thank you for having us.
And thank you, of course, viewers, for being here to hear more about all the wonderful things that are available at the Farmington Library and at libraries in your community. We're so glad that you watched Celebrate Michigan, where we celebrate all the great things happening in the Mitten State. See you next time.